Let's stay over in America at the moment and cross to Lara Trump, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, a regular on this show. Lara, I can't imagine what you're thinking at the moment. So tell me, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. This is a New York jury. This is a group of people who, although they may be peers of Donald Trump in a certain manner, they certainly have differing political views. And I think that everybody has said the same thing. It's impossible for Donald Trump to get a fair trial in the city of New York. This was from the beginning a trial that never should have seen the light of day. The statute of limitations had run out on it already. Alvin Bragg had to take this from a misdemeanor to a felony to even get it into a courtroom. And then the judge that was chosen, Judge Merchan, miraculously, Erin, has presided over 3 different cases that deal with people in relation to Donald Trump. You have this one with Donald Trump. You had Alan Weisselberg, his CFO, and Steve Bannon. What are the odds that that happens? There aren't any odds on it because it is impossible. This judge was chosen for this trial to weigh the scales from the beginning. He overruled every single time there was an objection from the defense, and he sustained it nearly every time there was an objection from the prosecution. Sitting in that courtroom, it was clear as day. So no surprise to see a jury come back with a guilty verdict. I think it was set in stone from the very beginning. They had this planned, but I can tell you one thing, it will deter Donald Trump 0%. He will continue on. I believe you'll see his poll numbers rise. I believe you'll see support galvanized behind him. And I believe he'll go on to become the 47th president of the United States.
Lara, there was a lot of talk prior to this trial that everything they're throwing at Trump will only help his chances of going back to the White House, particularly mud and things like this. What's your assessment of the impact this has had on his campaign, the trial itself and the verdict?
It's terrifying. I mean, we are supposed to be a free country. You are supposed to have a right as an American citizen to a fair trial. And yet this is the opposite of that. And I think a lot of people, to your point, who maybe even never thought about supporting Donald Trump, look at what they're able to do to a former president, to someone with all the resources that Donald Trump has, and still see what they're able to do to this man. And they say, wow, if they can do this to him, then I don't stand a chance. The average person in this country doesn't have a chance at all if the government decides to go after you. And we've seen the way that they have really been heavy-handed with conservatives, this government of Joe Biden's, over the past several years. It seems like people have been targeted in a way that feels very un-American. And so you couple that with what you've seen happen to Donald Trump, and it has turned people to his side. It has changed a lot of minds, and I think awakened a lot of people in this country. And that's a good thing, because we cannot be asleep. We cannot sit out of this election cycle. It will take every single patriot in this country in order to win this election. And it is a must, because if we have another 4 years of Joe Biden and the Democrats in charge, this country and the rest of the world, I think, are doomed.
Now, you are co-chair of the RNC, the Republican National Committee. I'd love to know, money-wise, the last 6 weeks, what have the donation figures been like? Have you seen an increase in those the more dirt thrown at Donald Trump, the worse the news gets, essentially?
Well, absolutely. Listen, we were able to outraise the Democrats and Joe Biden last month in April by $25 million. And Erin, the really important part that people have to hear is that our average donation is $29. And so that tells you all you need to know. The support from the people of this country are truly behind Donald Trump. Yeah, Joe Biden might have a couple of very big donors that come in and try to drop a lot of money for him, but the real people of this country are supporting Donald Trump for the very reason that they understand what is at stake. They see what they're trying to do to this man. They see what that means overall in the big scheme of things, the grand scheme of things for the future of this country. And they are fighting back, and they're speaking loudly with their wallets, even at a time when we have an abysmal economy, thanks to Joe Biden and his absolutely terrible decision-making and horrific policies. People are still donating to Donald Trump, and they're doing it very loudly and very proudly at this point.